What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to another video of Native Outdoors. For those of you who are new here, we do hunting and fishing and just about everything outdoors, and I am super excited about this video today because I actually filmed it about two and a half months ago. I just didn't want to release it so early because I didn't want to give you guys time to figure out where I'm at, since this video is going to be a scouting video about a quota hunting area that I finally won a quota for this year. I didn't want to give you guys a chance to figure out where I was going to be at too early for those of you guys who might be a little bit more knowledgeable about the local WMAs. Because I'll be honest, some of you guys have been asking me, you've been looking at my videos, shooting hogs, shooting deer, and saying, hey, where was this? Where were you hunting these pigs? I'll be honest, and I'll just come out and say, guys, I will never say where I'm hunting in a specific video. Nothing personal, nothing against anyone. It's just there's a very select few amount of people that actually know my spots. And the reason for that is because if I just gave each and every one of you a spot every time you asked me, then they wouldn't be my spots anymore. I took a lot of time and a lot of effort to find these areas and find these places. And you know, I want to keep that as, I guess, secure as possible. So hopefully you don't take that personal, but I just had to go out and say that. But nonetheless, we are going to be going out there. I know just recently I put out a video of how to e-scout on Florida public land. Well, in this video, we are actually getting out there on foot and we are going to do the work. You're going to go out with me and you're going to get to see kind of how I approach scouting in person. I know I'm not the longest time hunter or the oldest hunter. I've only been doing it for about 5 years, but I can definitely say that I think I've come a long way in those 5 years. And I picked up on a few things that hopefully I can bring a value to you guys if you don't know them already. We're going to be talking about camera placement. We're going to be talking about funnels, you know, what to look out for, certain types of vegetations, looking out for different habitat changes, things of that sort. And hopefully we can just, you know, really pinpoint some stuff that we can key in on that'll give you guys maybe a little extra piece of the puzzle when you go out on your own. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video because I definitely think this is going to be a very valuable one for you guys. Well, alrighty guys, we have reached the woods where we'll be hunting here. From this point forward, we're going to go ahead and take the e-bike, grab all of our trail cameras, and get after it. You guys can see I got myself a little neck fan. It's hot, guys. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it is June, middle of June. It's hot, about 96 degrees out. So we're taking all the precautions. I got a bunch of water with me. If you guys are gonna come scout in summer, that's the one thing. Bring water, wear long sleeve shirts, bring a hat, sunglasses, everything you can just to make yourself comfortable. And the one thing I would say also is take it easy, take it slow. There's no rush. Don't come out here if you're in a rush. It's fine if you're just gonna pull a camera quick or whatever, but if you're gonna come out here to put boots on the ground correctly and you wanna do the right thing, take your time, find the sign, find the area within the area, as we like to say. What I mean by that is, you know, you have an area you wanna hunt at, but you wanna find the area within that area where the deer are at. So if you're gonna do all of that, you wanna come out here, take it slow, take it easy, and just be comfortable, because I'll tell you without a shadow of a doubt, if the sun is beating you up, if the heat is getting you, you're not going to last out here very long and you're not going to do what you set out to do. So we're going to go ahead and load up now and get to riding. We probably got about a 2-mile bike ride right now to the first area that I want to go check out and throw some cameras up, see if we get some good deer on camera. Time to go. All right, here we are, guys. About 2.5 miles later. It's already hot. Let me go ahead and activate AC mode. That's a no-brainer. But yeah, this is where we're gonna put in from right here. So essentially, what I'm looking for those of you guys, I guess this will be the first tip, is some sort of funnel. So what do I mean when I talk about a funnel? Well, you got to think about
the topography that we have here in Florida. We don't have hills and mountains like they do in some other states, where a funnel could be like a creek bottom, you know, so a place where like deer are going to go and get water, and they're going to use it because they can travel through there because it's a little flatter. Here, for one, deer can get water anywhere. I mean, any flag pond, any cypress that has water is going to be a spot that deer are able to go to get that hydration. Another thing is, really, if you look around, anywhere is deer habitat. So there could be hundreds of deer right here in this field in front of me, in this palmetto pine flat, and I wouldn't know, because they could just be behind all these palmettos that are, you know, 5, 6, 7 feet tall, and be in there right now in the middle of the day cooling off. There's a cypress head over there, they could be in there. So anywhere here is deer habitat. So in order to have the highest odds, we want to find what we call funnels. So a funnel in Florida could be a spot where, you know, there's one bit of habitat here and one here, and there's something in the middle that kind of constricts the deer to walk in a certain area. So you could take, for example, cypress. If you find a big cypress dome and you find two of them close to each other, there's a little strip of woods about 50 to 100 yards, you know, wide in between them. That could be a funnel. The deer are going to walk the edges of those cypress domes, and where it meets the pine flat, they're going to walk the edge of that, and you know, you might find rubs up along that. So that's going to be our first order of business here today. We're going to go out here, and that's precisely what I did when I was looking on Onyx. You know, I identified a couple of interesting looking funnels, you know, areas like that where there's a just big cypress dome, an area where a deer will probably be there to hang out, to bed, but then he's going to want to come out during the day, you know, out here to these flats to kind of browse around, eat some of the vegetation, come hang out with does, stuff like that. And that works the same for deer and for hogs. So hogs and deer will use the edges. That's very, very key when you're out here, is edge habitat. You want to find where cypress meets pine flats, where maybe pine flats meets an oak hammock, or when cypress meets an oak hammock. You want to be able to identify the different types of flora, right? The vegetation, the growth here in Florida. You want to be able to identify that stuff, because that, when you find it and you start seeing, like, if in specific places what game you like more than others, that's when you're really starting to get close to them, because you can replicate that anywhere you go, right? So when we talk about a spot, let's say I go 2 miles from here or 3 miles from here somewhere, I can look for those similarities and usually start getting very close to game. So that's exactly what we're going to do here today. It's hot. We're going to head in and take it easy. Try to look for some sign, try to look for some rubs, something that tells us that there are deer here, and then we'll throw our camera out and see what we get. Another thing, whenever you're walking by, don't just look down. It's a good idea to look down. You could find things like poop and tracks and whatnot, but I'm not very likely to find poop and tracks here. Also, just look up. A lot of times you'll see game and you'll spook them before you find signs. So always keep your eyes peeled, looking up and down. Kind of work it up and down each time as you're walking, and that way you can really get a visual of what you're looking at. All right, guys, so whenever we talk about a transition area, this is precisely what I'm talking about. You see right here how there's this big pine flat out here in front of me, and then the vegetation starts to change right over here and it becomes a lot more dense. That's a hard edge. So that right there that you're looking at is cypress, and the deer a lot of times will come out here, feed out in the open, you know, and relatively open. I can't see very far just looking line of sight, but they'll come out here and they'll use that hard edge over there to travel. So a deer might walk that entire length all along there. So it's something to think about as we're walking along. You know, we might come upon this edge and all of a sudden start seeing a buck rub, because you can see that he's walking that edge. He's using that area to get from point A, point B, point C, or wherever his heart desires. So we want to pay attention to those hard edges like that. All right, so just to give you an idea why these deer are using these cypress domes, look how thick it is in here. There's just no way that anyone is going to come in here and get to him without him hearing you, seeing you, or smelling you. There's no way. I mean, sawgrass, they don't care about it. There's twigs snapping everywhere. It's just thick. Look, you see this? This is thick for a human being, but a deer can get right through this very, very easily. So that's exactly why these deer and hogs are coming into these cypress domes. And as you guys can see, ton of sun cover. You can lay up in here all day long if need be, get away from the sun, and then just come out early in the morning, late at night, or throughout the whole night and do what you need to do out there while being perfectly protected during the middle of the day in here. All right, guys, so I was just walking along here. I don't know how well you can pick this up on camera, but there's a game trail right here through there that kind of goes back in here into the dome, and that actually branches off that way as well, but it all kind of unites here on this main trail in the middle. So I think this is as good a spot as any to hang a camera. I think I'm gonna put it on this tree, just kind of shooting off down into the trail. That way, if anything's using this, I can get them coming in or out. And that'll give me some intel, because this is one side of that really big cypress dome that I want to check out. So I think this is a good spot for a camera. So I went ahead and put my camera up on the tree. I'm gonna go ahead and lock it, but as you guys saw, I took my saw. This is a Corona brand saw. I think it's like 25 bucks on Amazon. One of the best purchases to date that I think I've made. And I trimmed up some stuff here in front so nothing triggers my camera, but I don't know if you guys could tell, this tree kind of angles back. So if I leave my camera like that, my pictures are going to be looking up, and I don't want that. So what we're going to do to remedy that situation is we're going to take a stick, something like this, and just break off a piece. You don't need much. This one might be a little bit too thick, but we're going to loosen up our camera here just a little bit. Go ahead and jam this behind it. I'm going to see in a minute if I like this angle or not. Yeah, actually I think that looks really good. So you guys can see the angle totally changed on the camera. Before it was like that. Now it's like slightly looking down, right on down the deal, which is exactly what we want. All those little things you do definitely matter. So take the time to do it right, because there's nothing like being at home, getting a picture, and all you can see is the top of the back of a hog or the top of the back of a deer. It's not good. We're gonna go ahead and put our Python lock through it and see what we see on this camera. Another thing I like to do whenever I place a camera is I have some of this Evercalm. This is by Conquest Sense. It's like a deer herd smell. So it comes in a deodorant stick, and it pretty much has a very like goaty smell like deer. I like to just put this on the camera, on the strap. You know, I might put it on maybe some bushes, wherever my bag is on the ground. Stuff, anywhere I walked and left possible scent, This is just if deer are moving through here. You know, this smell kind of smells like more deer were here recently. So I think, I mean, I've used it before and I haven't had any problems where the deer put off by it or act like they're put off by it. So I use it because if anything, I just want to kind of trick them into thinking like, all right, there's a little bit of human scent, but deer have been here too. So this is good stuff. So I'm walking along and I keep seeing all these old deer poop pretty much everywhere in here. Some more over there. There were some more down that way. There's some more over there. Pretty much this whole area. And while that's not particularly screaming hot sign, it's still a good idea to now slow down, take my time in here, especially because I really like this habitat. There's this is one of the pinch points I was kind of saying. There's a cypress dome over there and there's one obviously back here. So I'm gonna slow down here for a little bit and just kind of walk thoroughly, take my time, see if I see any fresh poop, see if I can find any rubs around here to potentially stick a camera on. I'm just kind of walking along here and I see this, caught my eye, but it's not really anything to write home about. It's so small, but I kept walking along here. Let's see if I can find it again. Yeah, and pretty much clear as day, there's one right here. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know what to think of that. That's the thing about rubs. It's usually when you find one, and deer print right there. I know it's been raining here pretty recently, so that's pretty recent. But I kept walking along here, and I actually saw another one. I was saying that's the thing about deer rubs is usually when you find one, just keep walking and looking because you'll probably find another. Let's see. Maybe right here. Old, I don't know. There is a trail here, so that's something. I think it's worth throwing up a camera on this trail. Another camera down. You guys can see how I have these cameras painted. They just look so good. You know, we're playing a game of inches here, so anything counts. You can just mask these cameras a little bit just to blend in a little more naturally with the environment. That's a huge key. The deer won't notice it too much. I have seen deer look straight into my camera like, what the heck are they looking at? They know their environment, guys. They live out here, so anything we could do to make it a little bit better. But we have this camera here right next to that good rub I found. The other one up there, there's a couple of tracks down here. There's a trail, I don't know how well you guys can see. It goes down this way and through there, and there's a trail that goes out that way into that pine flat. But that's the way to that other cypress dome that we were at earlier. So now I'm gonna cross back over there and see if I can find some more juicy stuff that way. Last camera we're gonna set up here, right up along the edge. There's a trail here of a cypress dome, another cypress dome over there. It's a good little trail here. I found a rub down that way, so I think it's a good spot. Look how good that camera looks. I'm telling you, if you haven't started painting your cameras yet, you got to get on it. I think I placed a total of 4 or 5 cameras. I think 5. We should definitely get something very soon. Whew. And just like that, we are back at the bike, guys. I think I put in 6 miles. Is what my tracker says on Onyx. But you know what? That's what it takes. If you're gonna be serious about hunting, you gotta be even more serious about scouting. Scouting is, in my opinion, the #1 thing that makes the difference between people who kill deer, kill game on accident just because they were lucky, versus the guys that do it on purpose, the guys that do it predictably. I'm not saying that you come out every time and every time you get one. That's never gonna happen when you're hunting. But to be able to come out and be on the game consistently, you have to scout. It's the only way that you're going to be able to identify, like I was saying, those transition lines, identify the sign. You bring a brand new hunter out to the woods with a seasoned hunter, and they could walk the same trails, walk the same places together, and I guarantee you that one guy will be looking at one thing and the other guy will be looking at another thing. It'll be like 2 different woods, because the seasoned hunter will just be able to see little details that might go unnoticed by the rookie. So the only way to get past oversight, guys, is to come out here, do the work, boots on the ground, get sweaty, and then look for game. Like I said, I think we placed 5 cameras. I'm excited to go home and wait a couple days and see what we can start seeing on these cameras. It should be cool. If all goes well, I mean, I covered a very large area. There's no reason why we shouldn't get some game on camera. But if all goes well, depending on what I see on the cams, I'll come back out again, maybe adjust a few setups, and then actually walk around and start thinking about stand placement as well. That's another thing you always want to keep in mind whenever you go out and scout, is where are you going to sit? Where would you sit? Because, you know, you might go out into the middle of that cypress and say, oh, there's so much sign here, this is great, but there's not a single tree that you could put a climber, a saddle, a hang on, anything into. So you got to consider those things as well. But let's go ahead and get on out of here, get back home, and do not go anywhere, because I'm going to wait and give it a couple days before I edit this video and show you guys what we get on the cams. Let's go.